Okay, in keeping with our coatroom theme, I've sequestered Bruce Lunsford, the next senator from Kentucky, in the coatroom of the restaurant that we're eating at, and I want to ask him a few questions for BlueGrassRoots.org. Bruce, what's this convention like for you as a Senate candidate? I mean, I feel busy, but you must feel extra busy.
Well, there's a lot of things here. Senate races are not just state races in many ways because you're affecting every state in the country. You're one of only 100. So this has been a great opportunity for me to get me not only meet our delegation and enjoy the breakfast meetings with them, but also to be able to spend time getting known across the country because really I'm not an elected official. That separates me from all the other Senate candidates, many of which are congressmen or many of which hold other political offices. And I don't want to pass up the opportunity to be able to tell about Kentucky and why this race is important.
And you went to the DSCC meeting or breakfast this morning?
I did.
And how did that go for you?
Great. We got a great reception. I mean, there's no question that the DSCC supporters are just they're mitched out.
Yeah.
They've had all the mitch they want.
I mean,
and it's pretty easy to be accepted by that group just because we're willing to take on the issues and take on the changes. Or not the changes, but the obstructionism that Mitch McConnell's caused.
Democrats in Washington must be as excited to get rid of Mitch McConnell as Democrats in Kentucky are to get rid of David Williams.
I would think that's comparable, but the difference is that even though David Williams is difficult for the Democrats in the state, he's not affecting like Mitch McConnell the entire economy, the entire healthcare system, the entire international relations. I mean, all the things, the energy, everything. What Mitch McConnell is doing is standing in the way of any change in things that aren't working.
That brings me to my next question, Bruce. Can you articulate for our audience 3 critical differences you see between what you want to do in Washington and what Mitch McConnell has or hasn't done in the last 24 years?
Well, first of all, I think if I'd been around 24 years, I would have had a resume that I could be offering to the public of Kentucky. He can't. The only thing he can do is talk about me. Secondly is that I'm a person that believes in compromise. I believe you get things done as quickly as possible and move forward. And he takes pride in the fact that he is the master of obstructionism, and I would take pride in trying to be a doer and get things done. Even if some things don't work, it's better to try things that look like they will make a difference, rather than just say that I'm just going to stand here and stop a change and stop progress. It's time that we look at where the country is with its debt, with its education system, with its healthcare system, and its energy program, and all of those areas. I would be different than Mitch McConnell in. And then and probably the biggest singular thing, I've got 40 years of real world experience. He's got 40 years of being on the public payroll. I understand much more than he does what effect that the Senate has on the rest of us in the country. He doesn't see the recession because he's hidden on K Street.
Sure.
And I'm out there in the street and see what's going on. And I remember my dad having sleepless nights. I remember the difficulty it was to make paycheck to paycheck. I remember the difficult decision it was whether to go to the hospital or go to the doctor because we didn't have the money. And that's what I want to see happen. I want to see us change things for the better for everybody.
I guess if your whole political perspective is conservatism and keeping things the way they are, you wouldn't have any sort of resume. I mean, you would just stand there for 24 years.
Well, you would think that over being conservative or liberal, that sometimes you put the country first, and sometimes the big C word should be compromise, not being conservative. And he has shown at every attempt, almost to the point that he does it in a way that really makes you believe that he is the sole obstacle between progress and status quo. And if people believe the status quo has worked the last 6 years, then re-elect Mitch McConnell. But if you want something different, you better remove Mitch McConnell from his seat.
You're basically walking me through my own interview because that brings me perfectly into one of my pet issues, which is Mitch McConnell's obstruction, almost singular obstruction, of the Renewable Energy and Job Creation Act of 2008. This is an act that would create a level playing field for renewable energy to compete with energy sources that have been subsidized by the U.S. government for centuries, and Mitch McConnell is standing in the way.
Well, I saw this to Farm Bureau the other day. They've got a 25-25 program where by 2025 they want to see 25% of all our energy be, renewable and alternative. And I would even like to be more aggressive than that, but you certainly can't get there by holding things up. And even if you don't agree, that's what the purpose of the Senate should be about. I have my opinion, you have your opinion, and we sit down and say, okay, but we have to realize our job is not about taking money from special interest groups and letting industry lead us down the path. Our job is about setting policy for what's good for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And where Mitch McConnell and I differ more than anything else, he has developed his public policy based on his political, special interest helping him. As they write a check and they put it in his pocket for political purposes, that's how they get his vote. I, on the other hand, would love to see the Senate become a policy-making group that develops policy that will take this country to a higher standard over the next 20 or 30 years. And since I don't look at this as a professional politician, and I'm at an age where I can look at this as making a difference, I'm not going to be concerned about letting industry drive our policy. Industry drove our policy in the Bankruptcy Act and where we are with credit cards.
Sure.
Industry drove our policy with regard to energy. Look where we're at. Industry drove our policy with regard to healthcare. Look where we're at.
The Medicare
All of
Reform
those
Act.
programs don't work. They don't work because they were driven by self-serving special interest industries. I, on the other hand, want to be a representative of the people. I want to take strong stands in the areas I have great interest in, like healthcare, like agriculture, like energy, like our value of our dollar, like our debt, which is going to bury our country. That is the stuff of which 20 and 30 years from now will make a difference. I'm not worried about instant legacy. I'm not worried about reelected. I'm worried about where our country's going, because I look at my children and my grandchildren, and I love them dearly, and I would hope that we could look at the role of the Senate being more about that than more about petty partisan politics.
Amen. Now let me just observe for a moment. It seems like Mitch McConnell, you can't even have a conversation about which direction you want the country to move in, because he wants the country to just stand still.
Well, that's what it gives the appearance of, and as a result, we get nowhere quickly.
Yeah.
And so as long as he does that, industry's happy for their special interest, and it's not about being self-serving anymore. It's about being downright selfish.
Now, I love everything that you're saying, and it occurs to me that I would love to see you say it to Mitch McConnell. I saw the Kentucky Farm Bureau forum, and thought you did great there. Do you all have any debates planned?
Well, he has said that he will give me more. He didn't give Lois Weinberg any, I don't believe.
Sure.
And it's probably been 12 years since he's given any. So if I think he thinks that in his background, he's in the debate club of America for 24 years. And so he's got a natural advantage. But the difference is he wants to look at the burned forest and argue about the 2 or 3 trees left standing, and I want to talk about why the forest burned. And that will be every debate we have. I want to discuss the entire forest. He will want to talk about individual trees, and that's what I think will separate us in this debate.
Great. Well, future Senator Lunsford, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your lunch to hang out with us in the coat room here in the restaurant.
Well, and I appreciate you doing this, Ben. It's very difficult to do the things that you and many of your comrades in the blogging community do to take your time, but you've made a real difference in the way public gets to look at these campaigns. Sometimes it's good for me, and sometimes it's not, but that's the way politics should be.
Hey, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.